Hey everybody, this is Cities Timelines. I'm Dean Webb. Let's talk about building a new city on top of old roads. This is a way to build a city that you haven't seen before. Alright, so we start off with a standard start. We've got our highway area, we've got this square we're going to work with. And, oh yeah, I've also decided to make it with unlimited money and unlock all, because I'm going to need that for this road I'm going to use. I want the narrowest road possible. This simulates old-style roads, particularly in Europe. Really narrow roads. And we're not going to make it straight out from the freeway. We're going to go kind of crazy with it, and we're just going to build everywhere. We're just going to throw them all down. I'm going to use straight roads for a while, then I'm going to use curve roads, and I'll go back to straight roads and just slap them all down. I don't care what's where or what, how, but just go everywhere. Why? Because, well, that's kind of how some towns developed organically. They just built stuff. There was no particular reason to put anything anywhere. They just built it, and then where there was a space, they built more. And where there was enough space and they figured they needed it, they'd put in a road or a alley or something. So that's what we've got here. Nothing but road. Nothing but road. I'm just slapping everything down. And you see how crazy it looks? How close they are? How you're thinking, oh, wow, I would never want to drive on those. Exactly. That's exactly what we want. Aim for those intersections. Aim for hitting right next to the intersection. Make all kinds of really bad patterns. And don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. Make the roads close to each other. And the closer the better in some cases. Go ahead and have roads that are just cul-de-sacs. Stick them out there. Don't make them pretty. Just stick them out. And fill all the spaces. There should be no area inside this square that has no grid on it. So you see where all the holes are in the grid? Yeah, we're going to fill them up with these roads here. Just fill them up. And again, it's the narrowest alleyway. You may be thinking, that's going to be bad for traffic. Yes, you think so. But we're going to do that anyway because this is going to be a fun thing that we have coming up. We're going to do some things with these roads later on, but it's important we just slap them all down. Just pour them out and don't leave any part uncovered with road. Just get them all. Get them all, get them all, get them all. This is how we start the city. We put in old roads with some really crazy patterns to them. So, yeah. Let's just tidy up here. I got a little bit over there, some over here. Put in that one. And yeah, there we go. That's what the traffic map looks like. So now it's time to widen the road here. We're going to go with the standard 4-lane road. We're going to just pick a area and start widening it. Now, some of these we can't widen unless we delete the roads that are connecting to it. But others we can just keep widening, and don't worry about the intersections. We might clean some of them up later. We're going to first define the city center. That means we have this major ring road around it. It's not a beautiful place by any stretch, but that's okay. That's part of what we have to do. We clear it up and we get it going. And now part of the city center is also going to be the unique buildings that go there. The government buildings, church buildings, the Plaza of the Dead. There it is. These help define the city center. These are going to be things that keep the roads from widening. They are historical places that were built long before people decided they need something to handle car traffic. These buildings were in place, and there they will stay. We want to put in as much of the service buildings, the education, the fire, the police, the trash, the health, the death. As many of the service buildings as we can before we do any further widening. Reason. We want it to be where we'll be widening out roads, thinking we're going along just fine, and then clunk, we hit one of these places and we just can't do any widening because, well, these graveyards are already there, or the church is already there. And we do want a graveyard next to the main church there because that's just where people get buried, right? And we don't want to widen where these historical buildings are, and we're just going to leave the roads as they are. So I'm going to go back and put in a few more of these 4-laners, and where I can't widen it to a full 4 lanes, I do have a 2-unit wide 4-lane road that I'm able to use, and I'll do that as much as I can. That helps out, but there's some places you can see where I can't even use that. It just stays a little alleyway, and that's okay. That's what I want to have. This is going to have so much character with it when I'm done. And Don't worry again about how many alleyways are hitting these major 4-lane roads. We're going to clean some of them up later. But you can get an idea where we go past some of these buildings and we just can't make the road any wider. We have to leave it the way it is, even where the 4 lanes go down to 2 and then back to 4. So be it. Let's have some character in this town, and that's defined by the ancient road network, the existence of the buildings. That one's really blocking things up well. And where we hit those buildings, just leave the road where it is, skip over it, bend the road, do something different. We're now working on regular 2-lane roads with parking on them. They have a slightly higher speed than the alleyways that we placed earlier, so these help to guide traffic along. They won't be as fast as the 4-lane, but they're also not as slow as the alleyways. For these, we're not going to trim anything off the side. Let all the alleyways stick to those. But for the 4-lane roads, we're going to come back later on and do some cleaning up on them. All right, so we get this over here. We build alongside. We got to have something along the side of the river there. That's a good candidate for rebuilding. But around this area, oh yeah, got to go around that. That's just how it is. And some of these roads are going to flow nicely, and some of them are going to hit a T intersection with a 4-lane road, and then another one of these 2 lanes comes off at a different intersection. That's just the way it's going to be. We're going to have crazy roads. Crazy roads. Think about historically in cities like London and Paris and other places where people tried to widen the roads, and they could do that only in certain stretches, not globally there. We talk about the Haussmann renovations in Paris, but they didn't go everywhere. They went on a lot of roads, but not every road, and in many places the alleyway stayed. So here we're pruning off extra alleyways so that way we can have a little bit better intersection with our main boulevards, but we're not going to get rid of them all. We're going to keep a lot of them there, and I think that one and that one, yep, there we go. We're going to still have most of this ready to go. That's the road network there, and now let's just plop down some residential, and then I'll come back, I'll add some water and some electricity, and we'll come back to it in just a little bit. Now, to take care of all the jobs that people need, because all I had was residential, there was going to be a lot of unemployment, we've had to add some commercial and office. I only want to add light commercial because heavy commercial would place too high a demand on goods, and with the road network we have, I don't want a lot of trucks on there. Now, the secret is, I see an area that's along the main road. If I want to make it office or commercial, I just right-click where there is green, and then left-click to add the color. I'm using the little paint icon there for the zoning. Right-click, remove the residential, left-click, add the light commercial or office. I also have this Hadron Collider because I want my people to be better educated. I have a mod called Employ Overeducated Workers, so that way, with everybody getting a good education, they're going to fill these jobs. And I want them filled in right away. I'm going to delete it later on, but I want to have a good start. I want a historical town, not one that's completely starting from scratch. So again, just go around where the orange bar is high. I'll right-click and clear out some residential, add some office. When the blue bar gets a little higher, I'll do the same, but this time add light commercial. And I don't care if it's on the alleyways. Offices don't generate a lot of traffic. Light commercial doesn't generate a lot of traffic. I did make a industrial area at the bottom, and I've got some offices on the side. And we can see from the traffic here, it looks pretty bad where they're entering town, and it looks bad in other places, but honestly, things are flowing. This is not a problem. I'm happy with these numbers. And frankly, when you're having a lot of people come into town, they're going to make a lot of traffic. All right, we want to make this place look beautiful. Here's a professional tip. Add trees. Where you see a space in between a building, where you see blue, you can add a tree. If you're hovering a tree over a building, it'll turn red. Don't add a tree there. Where it's not red, add a tree. This is what all the professional people do. And when everyone says, oh my gosh, it looks so beautiful, I wish I could do that. Here's what you do. Add trees. Add flowers. See what I'm adding here? This purple jacaranda here? Wow. This is adding color to the area. It's really helping this area pop and stand out and be unique. Look at that. Already it's different. That's very professional looking. I've got the whole grid here. Looks like, wow, the city grew up that way. Neat, huh? Now I put in the trees. Let's put in some boreal pines. That'll give the area some character. They'll stand out and stand up. As we add the trees, we make the area look distinct, and these pines look different from the beech trees we added earlier. Ooh, how about some rhododendrons? Yes, please. Slap them down. They're adding color and character to this area. That's what makes this place look awesome. You can do this in vanilla, on the console, on the PC, wherever you are. Get your trees out. Get your flowers out. Just slap them in, and look at how much better it looks already. This is the empty hellscape, you could say. But we took those empty areas in between the houses and the streets. All these crazy patterns we have are going to leave these holes, and you fill them up with trees. I'll let you do that later on in your own map. Suffice to say, we've got it all taken care of here, and it looks like a real grid, like a real city has grown up here. We've got problems, sure, but this is how we start the city. We'll fix the problems later on. And that's the fun of the game, and this is a great way to start it off. Get an old city and build new on top. I hope you've learned about building a new city on old roads, and you've got a new way to start your city. And please like, comment, and subscribe, and join on with the channel. I'll have more of these tutorials in the days to come.